Hi. Hi, Backpack. I love ya. I missed ya. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna get into a story that's very intense, very sentimental, and something that's taken years to get over. Not to be dramatic. I was in a girl group. I was in a girl group. During that time, we were doing some intense vocal training every day, hours and hours. And at night, some pretty intense hours. And we would do like individual singing, and then we would also do group singing. And if your voice isn't used to that, it can be so strenuous and exhausting. My voice was already being, oh my gosh, is it happening again? Already being stretched to its limits, especially because my chords and my tone, I have a really like thick, rich tones. But the actual day that the straw broke the camel's back, I was at some friend's house. We're all at some friend's house, and they lived like on this huge property. They had like farm animals and stuff, and I was on the back of the friend's like ATV, and so I was screaming. I need to try to find the video. It's wild that I have the exact moment that this happened to me on film. I didn't know it at this moment that that's the time that it happened, but I was screaming so loud, right? And if you're a singer, you know that like if you're gonna scream, you need to do it in the right placement. Like that's why a lot of singers, even if they go to Universal or Disney, like it's a very specific way to scream, or like at concerts. I was not thinking about that. I was probably what, 16, 17 maybe. And so all of us were singers that were at this house, at this ranch. We all go inside and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like let's have a kumbaya, like sing off, like let's all do karaoke and covers and just sing for each other. And so I was like, okay, down, like whatever. We all individually went up and sang. When I tell you my voice was never cracking and cutting out, wasn't able to hit any note whatsoever at all. I was beyond freaked out. That never happened to me in my entire life. And so, in front of everyone, I sounded like I was going through puberty again. Like, I don't think you understand how this alters your chemistry. How embarrassing that can be. How traumatizing. I'm not even dragging. I'm not dragging it at all. I wish I was. I'm pretty sure the vocal coach and everyone was there. I had no explanation. I didn't know I had gotten notes. You know, I'll know in the future of the story, but I just was like, oh, I cannot sing, and I just embarrassed myself, and I'm gonna go cry. Fast forward, we're singing again in rehearsal, right? Oh my gosh. I'm doing my independent voice lesson, and I wanted to sing this huge song. I think it was Anyone, Demi Lovato. And we're all learning how to sing Anyone, and you know the right placement to put it. And I sing it, I sing through, and I'm like, no, no, something's wrong. No, no, no. And from their perspective, it probably just seemed like I was chickening out, or I wasn't trying hard enough, or I was just scared. Because that does happen sometimes, like a really big song, a new challenge, like I might be scared, but no, I couldn't express. I was feeling something I never felt before. So I was like, no, like, you don't understand. So then I don't remember if it was exactly pain, but it was definitely a lot of discomfort. So eventually I was told, like, okay, if you feel like it's that bad, like we're gonna have to go to a vocal doctor. And so I was like, not to be dramatic, but it is that bad. And it also felt so intense because like singing was my entire career. So I was like, oh, am I gonna get booted? Like, what are we gonna do? What's the backup? Right? So I was like, okay, yeah, let's just do it. So we went to the top vocal coach in all of Los Angeles. Like, can't even imagine that bill. But anyway, I sat down in the chair. Explained to him my issues, what happened. He put a little tiny camera on a like stick down my throat, and I'd be like, and he looked, and he was like, oh, you have pre-nodules, pre-notes. I was on the verge of having like fully formed nodes or nodules. I'm not even 100% sure exactly what they are. I just know it's like something on your voice that causes your cords not to completely close. I'm pretty sure. I try to block it out of my memory. And if your cords can't completely close, it causes issues in your singing. So oh my gosh, I thought that was the worst news that you could ever get. as a human being. Like, I was so dramatic. But it's also like I was facing so many questions. I was like, what now? Like, I can't lip sync. Like, we have covers to do. Like, we have songs to record. We need to be in the studio. Like, what now? And so he told me basically, you can't speak a word for weeks and weeks. I don't remember how many weeks, but it was weeks. That was like one of the hardest things for me, Makhyli. I loved talking. It's my cup of tea. I love to talk. So that was devastating, especially when you live with four other people and like everyone's kiki, ha ha ha, laughing, having a great time, you know, being friends, living together. And I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried. Like, imagine trying to order at a drive-thru, or just the simple things of wanting to talk about your day or saying what TV show you want to watch. Like, I had to get this whiteboard. I had a whiteboard at one point. I really felt like Cat Valentine. He didn't say I couldn't stay. In Victorious, when she lost her voice. I also had this like speech to talk app. I had to do lip syncing. Like, it was exhausting. And I just really had nowhere else to go but inside. And I feel like I learned a lot about myself. And there were hard times because I also just had no idea how my voice would be when I got back, and if it would be as strong as it was, or what would happen to me, you know, like if it was changed forever. Then I'm pretty sure I had a follow-up, and he was like, oh, it seems like you've been doing what you need to do, because they can tell, like, if you go there and it's not better, or they're inflamed, or they're bigger, like, they know that you've been talking, but I didn't. And especially whispering actually makes it even worse, so they really advise not to do that. So when I came back, I was healed physically, but mentally I wasn't. And that was the part that tripped me up the most, is because it was a huge just confidence knock. It was just, what if that happens again? In my head, okay, when I'm singing this note, like, is it gonna happen? Like, is my voice really actually as strong as it was? Like, what if the damage is irreversible? Like, in my head, it was just so much more intense. The fact that I knew that it was physically over and that I should be over it mentally, that also really messed with me. But over lots and lots of vocal practice and working with my mind and like affirmations and doing shows and things, I did slowly regain my confidence back, and I found my groove again, and I was like learning to trust myself. So it was a very like spiritual experience that I wouldn't recommend for everybody, but like I learned a lot from it. And I'm so grateful that I'm now stronger than ever. And I continue to work, and it always will be a mental thing, I think, just for singers in general. But I just wanted to share that because I feel like y'all really don't know that story in depth. I never really got to tell it, and it was a little scary to tell. I don't know why. I just think when something is your whole identity and it's thrown for a loop for a second, or it's questioned, or it's paused, or it's damaged, it's like, whoa, what am I supposed to do? But if y'all have any stories like this or anything that you've been through similar, I would love to hear about it and hear how you're getting through it, or how you've gone through it, because I love talking to y'all and hearing what you have to say. See you later, Swarm.